If you work in any of these roles, odds are you'll come across some boring and repetitive tasks from time to time. Now to help you eliminate those, in this video you'll learn to automate them in a click of a button like this using macros. Let's go. So here's the scenario we're working with. Let's suppose that every week we get a dataset like this one, which you can actually download for free in the video description. And as you can see, we have the week 1 financials by country, and our goal here is to format it and make it look nice so that we can send it to the management team, suppose by the end of the day. Now, because this task requires the same steps every week, we can actually automate it using a macro. So to enable the macros, we're just gonna go up over here to any part of the ribbon, right click there, and click on customize the ribbon. From here, you should get a pop-up like this, and we wanna go down to the developer area here. Make sure that's ticked if you haven't already. And from there, we'll hit OK. So that's gonna open up this new tab called the developer up top here. So make sure you click inside of it. What we're gonna do is record a macro. So let's click on that. From here, let's name it something like format. Hit OK there. And this is gonna record a set of steps that we take. And so every time you wanna run it, you can just hit run. So first, let's format this. So we'll press shift right arrow here, all the way to the end. And to center it, we'll use a shortcut, Alt-H-M-C, which is to merge and center over here. Then let's say we also wanna highlight it in dark blue, Alt-H-H for that. And I'm just gonna hit on the dark blue over here. Then we want to change the font color to something like a white here. So we'll go Alt-H-F-C and hit on the white color, hit enter there, Control B to bolden. And for the row below, just press Control Shift and right arrow. And here we're gonna make it in a light blue, say, so Alt-H-H again. And this time we're just gonna select a light blue like so. So suppose we're happy with this. And on top of that, let's also add a chart down on the bottom so they can see it more visually, what that's gonna look like. So we'll select all of this area here by going to Control Shift down, Control Shift right. Then we're gonna go to the Insert tab and we're gonna insert a chart. Let's say we go for a combo chart to see both the revenue and the profit. So combo here, this is the first one that we want. And let's say we move this down over here. We're also gonna remove that title there, so just hit delete, and there you go. Now to stop recording that macro, we'll go back to the developer tab, and from here, we're gonna go to stop recording. And there you go, now it's recorded that set of steps. Let's suppose we're now in week 2, so go to control page down over here, and you can see all of the unformatted data. So now to actually make it work, we just have to hit macro. And you can see that under macro, we have the macro name, the format, and we're just gonna hit run. And just like that, you can see it's fully formatted, and we also have the chart right below. Now to make this a bit faster, instead of having to go through the developer tab and hitting macro, we can actually just add a button on the side. So on insert here, you can see that we have a ton of different options, but we wanna go with that first one, which is simply a button. So we're just gonna put it, say, over here, like so. And let's make sure that we link it to the format. So every time we click that button, it's gonna do the format macro that we recorded earlier. We'll hit OK there. And let's rename this something like macro. Actually, let's rename it format there. Just like so. And now let me just delete this chart so we can see if it's gonna work again. So I'm just gonna click on format. And now we only need to press that button and it's gonna do the exact same action as you can see here. On top of that, what if we want to highlight the country we're sending things to? So for instance, if we're sending this to the Canada country manager, then we would like Canada to be emphasized. For that, we can also create another macro. So just click on any random cell here. We're gonna go to record macro, and let's call this something like highlight. Hit OK there. And from here, let's do the set of steps to highlight this cell in particular. So let's say I go Alt-H-H. And we're gonna color it, say, in a light gray. Also, let's add some borders to it. So Alt-H-B, and then from here, D is gonna be the shortcut. So now you can see that we have the top and the bottom border. And let's also bolden by pressing Control B. So once we've done all of this, we'll go back to the developer tab and hit stop recording. And again, let's make this a button as well. So we'll put it right over here. And let's say we call this one something like highlight. Let's make sure we link it to the highlight there. Hit OK. And we're gonna call it highlight too. Great. So from here, let's suppose I want to highlight the Canada region. So I'm just gonna select it. So Control Shift right. And all I need to do is click on highlight, and you can see how it's been able to emphasize that. And it doesn't have to be for all the rows. It can just be, say, for the country itself. I can just click on highlight, and you can see how it's been highlighted there as well. So now whenever you send this new file to each respective manager, you just need to select that particular area and hit highlight. One scenario that we haven't considered is what happens when the dataset is not of equal size. So in this case, you can see it goes all the way to row 11, but if you go control page down, you can see that we've added 3 more rows over here. So we want to find out if the macro is still going to work, so if it's dynamic in other words. Now to do so, let's go to the developer tab, as we don't actually have the button here anymore. Click on macros there, and we're gonna want the format one first, so we're just gonna hit on run. And you can see that if we look at the chart over here, it's actually accounting for Portugal, Belgium, and Austria. Now, if you're curious to see why it's dynamic in this scenario, we can just go click inside macros there. And then for the format one, which is the one that we just used, we're gonna click on edit. That's gonna show us the steps that we took. Click on that, and bear with me, I know this looks a bit daunting. This is basically VBA, which is the programming tool within Excel. So you can see that here we have all of the steps that we actually took. So on the horizontal alignment and the vertical alignment here, you can see that it's saying like Control Shift bottom here, so Control Shift down. And now the reason why it's been working for us, it's because it's seen as something dynamic here. If we actually had a range, like say, I don't know, B2 to B10, then it wouldn't quite work because it would be limited to that. But because we used a shortcut, it's able to detect that all the way down to the bottom dynamically. Let's get out of that by pressing X there. And one final thing to note about Excel files when they have macros is that you can't save it as a regular file. Instead, we're just gonna go to Save As, so press the F12 key there. And here towards the bottom, when it says Save As Type, we don't want a regular Excel workbook, but we want the next thing, which is the Excel macro-enabled workbook. Click on that, and then just hit Save from there. Hit the like and that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.